Have you ever wondered why we make the decisions we do? Why, when faced with two decisions, we choose one over the other? Join me as we delve deep into our minds in order to better understand ourselves. Our story begins with the way we learn. There are several ways in which humans learn about their surroundings and how to react towards different stimuli. One of those ways is associational learning. Associational learning is when our brains link an object or an event to a specific response. Like with the case of Ivan Pavlov's dogs, he demonstrated that if the ringing of a bell leads to reward or food, a dog will link the two and will respond to the bell by salivating. There are two types of associational learning that exist: classical conditioning, such as in Pavlov's dog, and operant conditioning, which is the use of reinforcement through rewards and punishment. There have been more studies that suggest that when our brain detects casual relations in events around the world, it uses that information it already has on those events to make decisions on how to respond to them. Understanding associational learning can give insights as to why people make the decisions they do, as well as influence others to make certain decisions. As previously mentioned, associational learning is when our brains link an object or an event to a specific response. Later in our life, we use that response and that reaction in order to make a decision about a situation that is similar. If we can understand why people react a certain way to a situation, then we can change the response to the situation, specifically concerning crime. For example, during the Cold War, the government used radio and TV in order to condition its people on how to respond if there were ever an atomic bomb. The TV showcased things such as which clothing material would better survive. What these TV shows and radio shows managed to do was control the panic in the population. In the same way, we can condition children in areas where crime is prevalent to react to certain situations such as peer pressure and witnessing crime in a different way. This can help us in the future reduce crime. There are several methods researchers use in order to understand associational learning. One of those methods is by using animals and then stimuli and seeing their response. In this specific example, pigeons were exposed to two different key lights, one red and one yellow. Then they were allowed to feed. Afterwards, the pigeons were shown a single black vertical line and a double black horizontal line, which would be the second stimulus. After exposing the pigeons and linking that stimuli to the food, they started varying the order and the pairing. So for example, yellow, vertical line food, or red, vertical line food. What researchers found was that conditioning was more effective in the group of pigeons that was given the most consistent relationship between the signal and the reinforcement. So for example, they were consistently given a color, a vertical line, and then food. There are several limitations when it comes to associational learning studies. Number one is that the sample size cannot be too small. Since associational learning studies focus on the learning process of the population, it has to be a sample big enough so its results are more accurate and precise to the population as a whole. Related to that is the culture, ethnicity, demographic, etc. of the participants in the study. A study needs to include participants from different cultures, ethnicities, in order to not skew results while ignoring possible factors that could affect those results. Lastly, as the experiment that was demonstrated previously, associational learning experiments work best when very specific and when testing one specific aspect. Limiting the parameters allows for specific analysis of certain processes within associational learning.